England are 1-0 up in a 4-test series. Who would have thought that would be the case before the series started, and that too in commanding style. So we are back on Cricbuzz chatter with the former England captain, whose outstanding win record is a bit under threat. Welcome, Michael Vaughan. How does it feel to have your record teetering on the precipice? Maybe there, maybe not. 26 wins as captain of England. Joe Root's caught up with you.
Yes, and he's caught up with me in quick time. I mean, he's only captain in 47 Test matches. I captained in 51. So, hopefully from an England perspective, he breaks my record over the course of the next 3 games. If he does so, England will at least have drawn the series. No question, he's going to break the record.
He's also a very different personality from Michael, but we won't go there. We'll keep bringing that in focus at some point during the Test match. But first, let's look at what India need to do, because India find themselves in the unlikely situation, not just of being 0-1 down, that happens, but losing by 227 runs and in a sense being outbowled by a side that India have routinely made fun of when it comes to spin bowling stocks. So what do India do from here, Michael, especially with the bowling? Reports that Harsha Patel might be fit, reports that you're moving away from that red soil pitch on the square to one that's 3 pitches away on the square to one that's blacker, more clayey. So you get the finger spinner in. Does Nadeem go out? What do you do with Kuldeep? There's a few questions with the spin bowling.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when you lose and you lose heavily, from the outside world, there's a lot of panic. You know, what Virat and Ravi Shastri have to do is create calmness. And there isn't a great deal of change that they need to make. Ishant Sharma, if he's fit, he plays. Jasprit Bumrah, if he's fit, he plays. Ashwin obviously plays if he's fit. So there's 3 bowlers that you got, and you can pretty much guarantee what you're getting. Washington Sundar didn't bowl as much as I thought he would have done. Probably would say that he disappointed on those first 2 days, but the pitch was flat, but batted brilliantly. So for me, he has to play. It comes down to who replaced Shadab Nadeem. Because I can't see how he plays in the second Test match. And do you need Akshar Patel, who offers you a bit more with the bat, bowls his left arm spinners, or do you go with someone like Kuldeep Yadav? I think it's just a very simple procedure that India have to look at the surface and kind of work out. Don't worry about runs at that stage, because your top 7, top 8 has to get the majority of the runs. Which of those 2 spinners I've just mentioned will have more success on the pitch that the teams will see over the course of the next 24 hours. Just keep it very, very simple. Don't panic. Don't need to make drastic changes. And just try and play better. I mean, Virat is saying to his team, look, we got hammered. No point in hiding behind the fact we didn't arrive, we didn't play well enough, none of us. We've just all individually got to play that little bit more consistently, have a bit more drive, a bit more determination, probably be a little bit more in the faces of the England team. And I would think that they'll want a pitch that offers spin more so on days 1 and 2. What India won't want is the toss to decide upon the match. So you win the toss, it's flat for 2 days, and the pitch starts to crumble, i.e. like the first game. They'll want a better surface where the spinners come into the action that little bit sooner.
Michael, you've been in these captaincy situations so many times. Is that 11th spot, how often does a captain go just by instinct, by gut feel? I mean, you're watching them at the nets, you're seeing the numbers, you're seeing the pitch, but it's just the confidence you have in a particular player, isn't it? I mean, how often do you go by gut feel confidence for that last spot?
Yeah, a lot of the time. I mean, you talk with the selectors, you talk with the coach, but ultimately it's down to you as a captain to choose who you feel is going to have the better week. You know, who the pitch is going to suit more. I don't have too much concerns about the Indian batting. I think they'll get runs, and they'll get more runs than they did in the first Test match. But it is about getting 20 wickets. And when you want 1-0 down, you have to get 20 wickets. You have to win the game. I wouldn't want to be 2-0 down to this England side going to a day-night Test match with the pink ball in a week or so's time. So India have to win this week.
Let's move on to the side that's 1-0 up. A lot of talk about whether Anderson plays or no. My view is I'm sitting in the Indian dressing room and saying, what's my reaction if I'm told Jimmy Anderson's not playing? I say, oh, not bad.
Well, yeah, you definitely sleep a little bit better when you know you don't have to face Jimmy Anderson, but you will have to face Stuart Broad. Stuart Broad will definitely play. Jofra Archer's had a bit of a sickness bug. I think he's had a bit of food poisoning, he said. So he may miss out because you know what it's like in hot conditions, if you've had a couple of days of a bug, you might not have your energy levels ready to go for Saturday. So we'll have to watch Jofra Archer. I'd be so tempted to play Jimmy Anderson again. I know he's played back-to-back games, and England have managed both Broad and Anderson very well over the last year and a half, just realising that they want to play one kind of a knock together. They may have an eye on them both playing together with the pink ball game. That's maybe why Jimmy might miss this week, to save him and Stuart Broad to play together with the pink ball. We'll have to wait and see.
I thought Jack Leach bowled really well on that turning track. I thought he outbowled Shahbaz Nadeem, which you don't say too often, which leaves the question of one other bowler, really, because I don't think you're tampering with the pairing too much. But Ollie Pope did all right. The young number 3, he's talked about very highly. So the one change is Folks for Butler, which is governed by policy, which leaves Dom Bess. And I mean, what if Dom Bess is knocking on your door, Michael, and saying, here's on a sheet of paper, here are my wickets in Sri Lanka and India. So you've got to play him, right?
Well, he's got 17 wickets at about an average of 22. So yeah, he has to play. I mean, I think there's been too much made of Dominic Bess. His bowling in the second innings, he didn't bowl that much. He didn't get it right. He bowled a few full tosses. But in the first innings, he got 4th and he got the king. He got Virat Kohli out on the pitch where it wasn't doing a great deal. So I don't quite get the conversations around Dom Bess missing out, unless he openly admits he's struggling with his confidence. 3
wins on the trot in Asia. It must be a team full of confidence. Do you almost have to tell them, listen, there's another test match starting, all that's happened is in the past? What do you do as a captain when you've won 3 on the trot, you're brimming with confidence?
Well, you just keep telling the team to stay humble, to stay true to their word, work hard. It may get a bit tougher, but understand that it might, but don't be worried about that. Accept the challenge front on. If India win the toss, then the challenge is really immense, because you know it's going to be that little bit more difficult. But you know, I think those kind of challenges are ones that you've got to be excited about. You know, really excited that you might be challenged more so this week. The team are playing to 11. I mean, they won by 227, so they've got scope for having a week that's not quite as good as last week and still putting a very strong performance together. India have got so much. I gave India's performance about 3.5 out of 10. 4 out of 10. England were 10 out of 10. So England have got a little bit of leeway to move down, and India have got obviously a huge amount to move up in the rankings. But I expect a tougher week for the England team. But if they bat first, they've got to show the same discipline. And I know Joe Root's done it 3 test matches on the trot. Can he do it a 4th? Of course he could, but I would think 1 or 2 of the others may have to step up and produce innings, because you know, history tells us that to go a 4th test match being the standout batter is very, very difficult. It may take a Ben Stokes, an Ollie Pope, one of that top 3 to get the big score, to get the England team to that first innings par and beyond score, which they got in that first test match.
One last question. Who do you think has got the edge going into this game? Put on your captain's hat.
Oh, England. England have got the edge. They're playing good cricket. I think those 2 test matches in Sri Lanka, I don't want to call them warm-up games because they're 2 test matches, but I think they've put the team in a really good position of playing in the subcontinent. Australia conditions are completely different to Indian conditions. The Indian team winning there, the celebrations, all the medals that they got, the kind of receptions they all received from their local states, that sometimes takes a couple of weeks to kind of come down from. And then the Indian team realised, wait a minute, we've got to get back to playing good, hard, basic test match cricket. And I'd be amazed if the Indian side don't put up a better performance this week. The toss is going to be crucial, but I just get a feeling with the pitch, it may offer a little bit more for the spinners earlier, which might nullify their toss. I don't think it'd be quite like that first test where for 2.5 days it was just a road. It did nothing, and then it started to come to action. I wouldn't think that Virat would want that kind of pitch. I think he'll want more action earlier for the ball, which will just level out that toss. And whoever wins the toss will bat. They'll have a better opportunity, but I think there'll just be a little bit more for the ball on days 1 and 2.
We'll wait and see. Michael Vaughan will, of course, be back with us in Cricbuzz Chatter every evening after day's play. So do join us. So then, thank you very much for being with us here on Cricbuzz Chatter.